The emergency klaxons had barely faded when Professor Zalthor's crystalline voice cut through the shuttle bay. Attention, cadets. This is your final survival examination. You have 12 hours to endure the night cycle on Vareth 7. Do not engage the predators. Do not light fires. Simply survive until dawn. Maria adjusted her pack and caught Casper's eye across the assembled group of Interstellar Academy students. The human male was grinning, actually grinning, while their classmates' various appendages trembled with apprehension. The Vareth crawlers are apex nocturnal hunters, continued the professor, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. They track by heat signature and movement. Stealth is your only advantage. The shuttle descended through violet clouds, landing in a clearing surrounded by towering fungi trees. As the ramp lowered, an alien symphony of clicks, howls, and rustling filled the air. The 23 cadets dispersed immediately, each species following their evolved instincts. The Zentari twins took to the canopy with their prehensile tails. The Korgoth burrowed into the soft earth. The methane breathers sealed themselves in filtration pods. Within minutes, the clearing was empty except for the 2 humans standing in the fading light. Well, Casper said, stretching his arms above his head. I'm thinking we head toward that ridge. Good visibility, defensible position. Maria nodded, scanning their surroundings with practiced ease. Agreed, but we should hurry. Sunset's in 30 minutes. They moved through the alien forest with a confidence that would have baffled their classmates. Where others saw threats in every shadow, the humans simply saw a forest. Admittedly one with bioluminescent moss and floating spore clouds, but the fundamental ecology was familiar enough. 20 minutes of hiking brought them to an outcropping of crystalline rock formations. Casper stopped abruptly, holding up his hand. Maria froze, following his gaze to a dark crevice in the rocks. Nest, he whispered, pointing to the scattered bones and the distinctive 3-clawed scrape marks. Vareth crawler, big one, judging by those tracks. Any rational species would have retreated immediately. The Academy's survival protocols were explicit. Avoid predator nests at all costs. Casper walked closer to the entrance. What are you doing? Maria hissed, though she followed him anyway. Look at the track patterns. He crouched near the entrance, running his fingers just above the dusty ground without touching it. These are old. At least 3, maybe 4 days. The nest's abandoned. Maria examined the evidence and nodded slowly. Migration season. The professor mentioned Vareth crawlers move to lower altitudes during temperature shifts. Exactly. Casper peered into the dark opening. This is perfect. Natural shelter, elevated position, already established as a predator den so other creatures will avoid it. You want to sleep in a predator's nest. Abandoned predator's nest. He corrected, with that infuriating grin. Come on, Maria. When's the last time you saw a mouse move into a fox den while the fox was out hunting? She couldn't argue with the logic. No prey species would approach this location, and any predators would recognize it as another hunter's territory. The scent markers alone would create a perimeter of safety. They ventured inside, using small luminescent sticks from their packs to light the way. The cave extended back about 15 meters with a relatively flat floor and no signs of recent habitation. The bones were old, brittle, devoid of any remaining tissue. I'll take first watch, Maria offered, settling near the entrance where she could observe the darkening forest. No need. Casper was already unrolling his sleep mat. We're perfectly safe here. Casper, the exercise requires us to survive until dawn. We will. But there's no point in exhausting ourselves with unnecessary vigilance. He lay down, folding his arms behind his head. Trust me. Nothing's coming near this nest tonight. Maria wanted to argue, but fatigue was settling into her bones. The past week had been brutal. Zero-gravity combat drills, atmospheric entry calculations, and now this survival test. Her body was demanding rest. She compromised by setting up her mat near the entrance, positioning herself between the outside world and her recklessly relaxed companion. Within minutes of lying down, though, she understood Casper's confidence. The cave was warmer than the outside air, protected from wind, and the lingering predator musk created an invisible barrier that her hindbrain recognized as safety through intimidation. Against all her training, Maria's eyes grew heavy. The last thing she remembered was hearing Casper's breathing even out into sleep, and thinking that maybe humans really were as crazy as the rest of the galaxy believed. Dawn arrived with a chorus of alien bird analogs. Maria woke to find Casper already up, heating water for their ration packs using a small thermal unit. "Morning," he said cheerfully. "Sleep well?" She had, actually. 8 solid hours in a predator's den on a hostile alien world. "We should head back to the pickup point." They emerged from the cave to find fresh tracks in the clearing below. Massive. 3 clawed prints that circled the base of their outcropping multiple times before leading away into the forest. "Looks like something came by after all," Casper observed casually. "It didn't come up here." "Nope." Territorial respect. Even apex predators understand boundaries. At the extraction point, their classmates emerged from their hiding spots one by one. The Zentari twins were covered in tree sap and insect bites. The Korgath had spent the night in a cramped tunnel, barely able to move. Several cadets hadn't slept at all, their eyes wide with exhaustion and residual fear. Professor Zalthor materialized, his scanning equipment confirming each cadet's survival. When he reached the humans, all 6 of his eyes widened. "Your biometric data shows you both achieved REM sleep, deep cycle rest, for 8 consecutive hours." His translator barely masked his disbelief. "How?" Maria and Casper exchanged glances. "We found good shelter," Maria offered diplomatically. "Where?" Casper pointed toward the ridge. "That outcropping." There was a nice cave. The professor's skin shifted through 3 shades of alarm. "That outcropping bears Varith crawler markings. Nesting site. Extremely dangerous." "Yes, sir," Casper agreed. "But it was abandoned. Old tracks, no fresh scent markers. Standard predator behavior suggests you slept in an apex predator's nest?" The professor's voice climbed an octave. "Well," Maria said, shouldering her pack, "we weren't using it." The shuttle ride back to the academy was filled with whispered conversations in a dozen languages. But the message was universal. Humans weren't just fearless. They were something far more unsettling. They were comfortable. Comfortable in situations that would paralyze any rational species with terror. As the academy's towers came into view, Casper leaned toward Maria. "So, same strategy for the advanced survival course next semester?" She smiled despite herself. "Obviously. Why mess with what works?" Behind them, Professor Zalthor made a note in his datapad. "Recommend psychological evaluation for all human cadets. Possible species-wide survival instinct malfunction. Or genius, further study required."